to the N.y.a show. How's everybody doing this week? Welcome back to the N.y.a show, episode 99. Woo! Look at how far the boy has come. Episode 99, and of course, I'm here to report back on something I've seen, but I first, must shout out my boy 34 Kel just dropped off a new album. The Kel, here we are. Yeah, please pay attention to the cover art because that took a great deal of time there. Big Dragon Ball Z influence. And we sitting at 19 tracks. Like I said, I've heard a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? I heard a lot of it from top to bottom. And if I can recommend anything to you, it's going to be down in the link. But of course, 34 Kel, the new project is out on all streaming services, but we prefer that you come tap in on Audio Mac because Audio Mac, as you can see, the numbers are looking great here, and a great deal of his fan base are coming to support on Audio Mac. So go ahead, head over to Audio Mac, download, save, play, share, retweet, everything related to 34 Kel to Kel. So I appreciate y'all always on that. This week, we're going to talk about something I just saw out of the UK, which is almost 400 children were infected with HIV through contaminated blood products. The inquiry into the scandal found thousands of patients were infected with HIV and hepatitis C in the 1970s and 80s over in the UK. This is approximately 380 children were infected with HIV through blood products in the UK, an inquiry has found. And I must also say that over 300 people as generations. It may seem like, oh, that was just a small base, and we probably compare it to how many people got these treatments and were helped during this time with these blood transfusions. But you have to still remember that that's generations of people affected by a decision. That's generation of people affected by a decision. So generations of people that are affected by a decision. They were infected between the 1970s and 80s. It had previously been reported that at least 175 children were infected, still generations. But looking into the fiasco, they found out that it's more than double. All right, Jenny Richards, the counsel of the Infected Blood Inquiry, wrote on the inquiry's current view of the current number of children likely to have been infected with HIV through blood products in the UK is that the figure is 175 derived from the HIV hemophilia litigation as the number who were still children at the time of the settlement. The inquiry estimated that the number of people who were children which infected is more than two times that number. The inquiry now says 380 children were infected, making up a third of the total number. It came to the estimate after basing it on a proportion of children amongst people with bleeding disorders, data published in the Lancet in 1996. The figures provided by the UK Hemophilia Doctors Organization. The fiasco occurred after the UK struggled to keep up with the demand for treatment tackling the blood clotting condition, hemophilia, and other blood disorders, and infected began importing infected products from overseas. Were these nations of supposedly they got this blood from overseas? How do we know? But when they say have some type of skepticism about everything, and I mean everything, this is an example of it because, hey, I'm pretty sure all of these children were just put in a position where, hey, I was born with this condition and I need help. And y'all say that y'all got the help. So that I'm going to go ahead and rock with y'all. Here, give me my help. And not knowing that these people don't even want to keep it 100. I'd rather look at you in your face and like, my boy, or my girl, we ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? Like we short. It's gonna take a little longer before I hit you with the wig. Like we got you covered, and I'm giving you infected blood. As not as if the people, the doctors who were probably infected, giving it to them directly. This is like some higher level that was supposed to be checked. So many more checks and balances supposed to happen before it got to the doctor. Let me say that as well. About 2,400 people have died in what has been called the worst treatment disaster in this has been called the worst history of the National Health Society, the National Health Society, since they've been in business. Most of those rely on regular injections of the U.S. product factor. Here we go. Factor 8 to survive. If I'm I think I did that right. Yeah, factor 8 leaning on that, and it's the National Health Science. That's what NHS stands for, National Health Science. Most of the people rely on the regular injections, and it was from a U.S. product. They were unaware that these products were contaminated from people who had been paid to donate, including prisoners and drug addicts. So, who were some of the people at the head front? I wonder over in the U.S. that were taking a lot of blood across the world. Hmm. Patients were infected for years despite repeated warnings at the top of government. That's what I see what I said, checks and balances. It was more people that pulled threw the flag out there on this before it could have got to the doctors, y'all. Before it got to the doctors. And some of the victims were infected after receiving blood transfusion. New cases of HIV and hepatitis continue to be diagnosed decades after the first contamination, resulting in many early deaths. So, the majority of the people here that probably deserve something, man. They already done crossed over. They already done crossed over that road, sadly. And the people that are still here that deserve to be compensated. But please know, there's a lot of people that's probably left this world before they even knew that they were dealing with anything contaminated. Or the reason that you ended up leaving this earth was because the doctors and people that are supposed to be helping you were giving you contaminated blood from CJ over there on 34th Katrina, yeah, Katrina and Veronica over there in the Hamptons. You know what I'm saying? All because it come all over, or they're giving you their blood and bringing it over there. You just a kid, and now you sitting up here. You know what I'm saying? Now what I'm saying, a lot of people with Jesus now. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to also say that there is talks of reparations, and I want to say it was a comment that was left that was just more so like because so what's going on with the amount of black, let's say the black stuff and people that came over to the UK that had HIV or never tested, which may be true. It was just some one of the comments. You're reading everything, and you just get triggered by that one. But I do realize that there were a great deal of people that were during immigration. The same thing that goes on here that we shall see, I guess, further down the line to the future and things. How things are not being checked properly through our immigration system do lead to people coming in bringing in diseases as well. So that was something that was mentioned in this other story that I can't seem to pull up right now. But more so, my point was that they're saying that these people should be getting 100,000, you know, what I'm saying, like a month or a year until they no longer here, which is fair because you stripped me of so many years of my life because I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be here, because at the end of the day, y'all gave me contaminated blood with all different things in it. I got HIV now. HIV is something that can turn into AIDS, which can eventually lead to death. Same thing with hepatitis. That's something that I can't get rid of. So I want to know y'all thoughts on this. This is just an example of things coming to the forefront years, saying years after this story was fresh on the news, on my newspaper sites. So it just shows how things happened so long ago, but they come back and part of people during that time like, hey, I don't know too much about what they doing. At the same time, you got people that will turn their head because this was involved, just turning their head. And we gotta be cautious of that. Do have skepticism of things because at the end of the day, this can be me, this can be you, anybody that may ever go through anything in life. This was back in the 70s and 80s, of course, but that doesn't mean that even today that we're doing everything perfect and by the books. Don't be a fool and think that. It's the N.y.a show, episode 99. Appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all next week.